Likes to keep to himself. I usually see him when he comes back from the newsstand. He...
8 feet tall and gray. What is he, an elephant?
No, he's a dinosaur. It's true. He lives on West 78th Street. He reads the New Yorker.
Sybil, you're going to have to redo your assignment. How can a dinosaur live in your neighborhood if dinosaurs are extinct?
Maybe this one isn't.
I think we're doing a discussion thing as soon as the lights come back on. Are you running the Q&A?
Yes. So, I do have some questions for you, personally, because I love this book. It's amazing. So, as a debut author illustrator, how did you format this book? Because it's a very different kind of take on a picture book. It has chapters. You know, it's kind of like in a graphic novel comic strip kind of format. So, what made you kind of come with that?
Well, the book started as a picture book. I wanted it to be a 1,200-word picture book, and I started showing it to some editors, and they said, you know, we really want it to be a lot shorter, maybe 800 words. And I tried to get the 400 words out of the manuscript, and it just wouldn't happen. So I thought, well, if nobody wants it to be 1,200 words, you just make it a lot longer, I suppose. So I started writing dialogue for the characters. Before, when I started, it was just voiceover. It was just the sort of the black text on the white background in most of the pages. And yeah, when I finished, I had two sort of versions of the same book. I had to figure out, okay, do I want to combine it? Do I want to change it completely? And instead of changing it completely into a graphic novel, I decided all the voiceover would just stay like a picture book format, and all the dialogue would become comic strip format. And luckily, I think it worked. But yeah.
No, it's excellent. It's really excellent. So is there any inspiration that kind of got you to formulate this story? Because it's a very kind of unique story, like a dinosaur that's kind of hiding in plain sight. I know it touches on New Yorkers and our lack of attention. But yeah, what kind of inspired you to like?
Is Edward Addy with me?
Hold on a second. There he is.
Well, actually, this is
One of the inspirations, I guess.
yeah. This is what is this?
It's a Polaroid swinger.
Yeah. What is a swinger?
A big swinger was their 1969, mass market hit.
This is a camera that's actually in the book that belongs to my cousin. I call him Uncle Eddie. Uncle Eddie is very funny, and he named a dinosaur toy I had when I was much younger. I mean, like 3, maybe 4 years ago. Bolivar. He said he looked like his name should be Bolivar, and so we named him Bolivar. Yeah.
But my version was
different.
nasty.
Yeah. It's true. He wasn't that nice of a dinosaur. He did become mayor once, though. That was a thing that happened to him. So I thought it'd be kind of a funny idea to have a dinosaur become mayor of New York City. And I started writing about that, and then I realized that if the dinosaur became mayor of New York City, no one would notice. At least most of the day. Possibly much longer than that. Like the mayor could be a dinosaur right now, we'd have no idea. Right. So anyway, I put the dinosaur in Manhattan. Nobody noticed. I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting idea. Maybe we could do a book around that instead of something else. So yeah, that's really where the whole story came from. And then the idea of having Sybil run around trying to take pictures of him with the Polaroid actually came from this camera. So thanks for bringing that.
And you did it.
Yes.
Just
Comments?
an amazing creation. The whole thing is just
The book is actually dedicated to Uncle Eddie, so that. And we did a great interview.
But it's completely her creation. Because my Bolivar was nasty.
I think he was upset with the last dinosaur.
And he would have been with like Fritz the Cat or one of those. So he's not in this.
All right, thank you for your comment. Sort this man out, please.
You redeemed him.
Yeah.
Is there a specific message that you want to convey in this story?
Yeah, it's funny. I think a lot of people have actually read it, and they've taken away from it that it would be better for everybody to just kind of pay more attention to things. And I think that's true. I always like, being observant is fun because by choosing to notice things that you weren't otherwise looking for, you see things that you didn't notice before. Simple as that. But it's also very much about how this dinosaur. He's sort of concerned that if he lets people realize that he is a dinosaur, that there's a dinosaur in Manhattan, that everyone will reject it. And I think that this probably we all have something about ourselves that we're sort of afraid to share with people for fear of rejection or that people won't like us. And I do think that it's often worth taking the risk to trust people to react to it in a good way as opposed to a negative way.
Amazing, amazing message. Guys, please give it up.
Can we take questions from the audience?
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely, absolutely. Anyone have a question? Yeah, go for it.
There were like one guy with a PCAP, and I saw newsstands. Did you like travel around the city sketching, or did you take these from?
Yeah, I've never been comfortable sketching people in the subway. Like a lot of people do that. And it's sort of, I try to remember things. So sometimes what would happen was I would see somebody and I would either write it down or I would sketch it when I got home. Like sneaking photographs or anything like that. People have asked if the answer is no. But I did have a list of people I wanted to include in the book. So, like for instance, in the 5th chapter, there's these 3 spreads where it's the 2-page spreads where it's all these different people on the subway.
Yes.
And that was actually a list of people, and my wife would probably test this. They were on Post-it notes. And as I would go through each, I'd find another place to put them. I'd pull a Post-it note off the board and then work from there. So there was like a Post-it note that said, guy that looks like Mr. T holding $2. Lenny Briscoe, I think, was on there. Someone in a red leather jacket. Most of those people are people I actually have seen in New York. I didn't really have to create them from
But the buildings, there were buildings and there were newsstands.
Yeah.
And they were, did you go to these
Yeah,
locations?
yeah, a lot of the buildings are real.
Are you in the book?
Maybe, but
Yes.
comment.
That desk reminds me of your desk.
Yes, Julie, you had a comment? Okay. Anyone else? Mr. Smith?
I've always loved your artwork. So I'm thrilled to see this, and I'm very anxious to read it. So my next question is, what's the next book?
Well, I think I could talk about this as long as everybody promises not to tweet it. Actually, I just agreed to do something with Scholastic, literally about a week ago. It's going to be, you don't have the title for it yet. It was written by somebody else, actually written by an author named Dean Robbins, whose work is probably here. He did a book called Margaret and the Moon last year, which has gotten a lot of good attention. But it's going to be about an astronaut named Alan Bean, who is unique in having been the only person on the moon who was also an artist.
Oh, very cool.
So when he got back from the moon, he found that describing being on the moon or looking at pictures was insufficient to get his point across, so he started painting. And so the book is going to be about how he became an astronaut and how he painted being on the moon later. And it's due in March. So here,
I'll put it in my
I think it's coming out in 2019 to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the moon landing.
Cool.
Wow.
Very
Congratulations.
And when you lived in Manhattan, did this inspire more of the things living here and actually?
Yeah, so I actually lived in this neighborhood for about 4 years. And I didn't really have a clear sense of, I wanted to write this book for a while. I didn't have a clear sense of where in the city I wanted to put it. I was probably going to put it here and there in the town. But living here for 4 years and being right next to the Natural History Museum, it did seem like a really good fit, considering there are already dinosaurs in the neighborhood, to have a living dinosaur. Yeah. Yes?
What inspired you to make children?
Oh, interesting. Well, I always like to draw. And I think a lot of kids like to draw, but for some reason some kids stop and some kids just keep on going. I just kept drawing. And my favorite thing to draw were characters in books that I've read. Mostly Redwall and then later Lord of the Rings. So it was just something that I liked to do. And Brian Jakes, who's the author of the Redwall novels, I actually met him when I was a kid. He really liked my work, and he said, you know, you should do this. I think you could illustrate books. And so I kind of started then, and I just kept on doing it. But it was really fun for me because I like to draw pictures, and I like to draw pictures from books. It didn't occur to me until I met an author, and he said, hey, you should just draw pictures from books. This should be your job. That's kind of where the whole thing came from.
Anyone else? Anyone else with a question?
I have a question. What do you enjoy more, doing the illustrations or doing the writing? Or do they just go hand in hand?
That's a really good question, Steve. Writing is a lot of fun. Illustration is really hard, but it can be tedious. I mean, nobody's making me crosshatch. I don't think. Possibly the art directors, but writing is interesting because you can sort of, it's like playing pretend. You know, you're just sort of by your computer, you're sort of imagining these things and putting words in people's mouths, or usually if it's going well, you're listening to your characters and they're talking, and you're just kind of responding to it. That would be an ideal setup. So I enjoy doing that, and it's also a lot quicker usually. Although it took a while to write the manuscript for Bolivar. It wasn't like I was working on it every day for a number of years. I was thinking about it on and off. With drawing, it's much more, okay, I have to get this done before I go to bed tonight. Sometimes that means you're up until 2 in the morning. I haven't really written anything, done any creative writing up until 2 in the morning where I had like a deadline. So I probably would say, I don't know. They're very different. They're both. It's fun to do both. What I can say for this next project, I'm actually really excited to be illustrating something I didn't write. Because the temptation when you write your own projects is that, you know, you'll be down the line illustrating and going, you know, I don't like this dialogue. I'm changing it. So if somebody else writes it, you can't change it. You just stuck with it. You just do it and you're done. So that should be good. I'm looking forward to that.
Anyone else? Anyone else with a question? Concern?
Did you design the book yourself? I'm sorry.
Yeah, mostly. The other designer that was very involved in the project is a guy named Scott Newman who works with it. Who works for the
publisher.
Yeah, he's a great designer.
The colors are beautiful. The colors and the shading and your sense of light are just phenomenal.
Anyone else? Anyone else with a question? No?
Is that a GCA uniform in the book?
Yeah, there's one somewhere. Oh, in the museum.
In the museum.
They're under the kids who are. Yes, it is. Everybody who's from GCA should be lucky that you were compelled to wear a yellow sweater to Fritz. Right. Wondering why on earth the main character goes to a school where they're wearing ugly uniforms. I think probably something to look into that.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's your favorite spread? Subway or the...
That's everyone else's favorite spread. No, the Subway Command, a lot of people point that out, or have pointed that out to me. What's my favorite spread? The one I typically, when I need to send something to somebody, it's actually one of the spreads in Save Bars. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that actually almost didn't make it into the book. Yeah, well, because there was a scene, this seems ridiculous in hindsight, there was a scene that took place on the top of the Empire State Building that was very inauthentic because it didn't really fit the whole story at all, and they were just sort of running around uptown. How would they have gone down to 34th Street? Bolivar wouldn't go there because it doesn't really fit the things he tries to do. So anyway, that got pulled, and we're trying to figure out what to replace it with. And we wound up doing, well, grocery stores. Anybody who knows me like to hang out in grocery stores. So the two grocery stores that are in the book are actually Fairway and Zabar's. The outside looks like Fairway, the inside looks like a combination of Zabar's and Fairway. But that's also because if you live in this neighborhood, you spend a lot of time in both Zabar's and Fairway typically. So I don't know. Yeah, I think those are my favorite for some reason. I like the colors. It took like 2 or 3 days to color those. Yeah. Mr. Clemens.
So there's that truism that books are made out of other books. What other literary or artistic influences inspired might find in this book? Visions?
I mean, other than all that stuff you gave me when we were teenagers. No, actually, my friend Jesse, for the few people in this room that don't know him, Jesse gave me a number of things that became pretty important to this. Some J.D. Salinger short stories, and also the soundtracks of the road Bombs. And then later, which is actually arguably the same thing, but and then later there's a lot of Edward Hopper in terms of how to actually put the illustrations together. But there was a lot of we used to read Salinger a lot when we were younger. I still enjoy him. I have some former students in the audience who I think I forced to read Salinger at some point. But at any rate, there's some ideas that are in there that are in Bolivar. I mean, he writes a lot about people not noticing stuff or being oblivious to things that are important. He did it, the way he did it, we could sort of argue about whether or not, did he do it well, but that was something that was important to him. And a lot of his work took place in New York City. And then Wes Anderson as well. And then, like I said, Hopper later. Hopper is really great, he's a painter. A lot of his work at the Whitney. But what he really likes to paint is light, first of all. And then, to a lesser extent, sort of urban isolation. So it was really cool to look at Edward Hopper's paintings to kind of get some ideas for how to put together some of the illustrations. Some of the illustrations are basically just Hopper paintings with a dinosaur in them. So.
Yeah. Well, and Hopper's painting was actually featured in one of the scenes.
Well, there's like 2 or 3.
Two or three Hopper paintings
they're pretty straight on
in the
honesty.
museum.
Yeah. I'm not going to say which one. Figure it out. Yeah.
Anyone
Thank you.
with a question?
The hot dog one.
Yes.
The guy dressed up as a hot dog.
Yeah.
How did that come up?
Well,
There's a hot
why is there a guy dressed as a hot dog?
On the subway.
Wasn't Grace Papaya?
Maybe a reference to that. I don't know.
Well, Grace Papaya, they used to have a guy dress up as a hot dog.
Yeah, it's like a thing, right? I don't know. Isn't it? Did you look behind the guy dressed as a hot dog? If there's something, here's the tip with this book. If there's something outrageous, look right behind that thing. It's usually a dinosaur. Like a weirder, because it's like, what's weirder, the guy dressed as a hot dog or the dinosaur?
It was about the size.
You know, like you're on the subway, it's like, was that guy or that guy? I don't know. We were in Central Park the other day, and there was somebody who was basically dressed like a rainbow with like a, it was really, yeah, it was great. I don't know. There could have been a dinosaur right behind me though, and I wouldn't notice. Oscar.
Mr. Rubin, I haven't looked at the book yet, but any influences from eating at Asian restaurants?
Yeah. There is 2-page spread on each blog.
Okay.
Which I had to do a bunch of calligraphy, and I had 2 or 3 people double check it. So hopefully it's all right. Although so I'm sure we'll
It's good for government.
No, there's so there's a Chinatown spread. There had to be.
I expected it.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Give it up for Sean. So if you guys would like to get your book signed, we're going to have you guys line up on the side over here. I'm going to move the chairs out of the way for you guys.